Pour nous toutes, nous bien contents avec vous matin. Eh bien, dans le cadre travail d'éducation que nous avons fait pour nous, ouais, qui gens communauté a un maximum d'informations et pour nous capables plus confortable vivre comme un groupe ethnique, même gens l'autre. Maintenant, nous parlons dans Bois mais nous parlons parler avec un étranger étranger ça le Mr. Dwight Forrest et c'est avec lui nous on pourra parler monsieur travaille dans the Board of Commissioners as the accounting manager for the tax collectors office. Nous pourrons parler avec Mr. Dwight. How are you today, Mr. Dwight? Thank you for being with me this morning.
I'm wonderful.
You wonderful?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking, and good to be here.
Okay. I know you're working as a in the tax collector's office as the accounting manager, right? Having a bachelor in finance, having a bachelor in management information system, as a master degrees in public accounting, having also a master degree in public administration. You have a lot of degrees.
Well, from the islands or from Jamaica, my parents always say to me, they don't have money to give. The only thing they can give you is education. So they're always a proponent of us getting as much education as we can. So, yes.
Yeah. So when you see me this morning, or when you see other Haitian and you are Jamaican, do you feel we are the same or not?
Of course, we are. Culturally, we might have language barriers, but we are the same. And the Haitian community was very important in us Jamaicans getting freedom. So if we work together as a community, we can go far.
Let's say in general, do you see we have certain information we should know, and that could help us as community and from your experience where you are working, and we do not have when we are talking with some Haitian brothers and sisters, and being and participating in some meetings, and then you see there are a lot of information the Haitian community do not have, or do you see that?
Thank you for that question. And yes, we are at a disadvantage to a certain extent because working on the Broward County Tax Collector's Office, there's benefits there that the community can benefit from, but because they don't know that it's available to them, then it's not used until when we are in a crisis, and then they come for help, and sometimes our hands are tied then, and we cannot help because there are laws and rules that governs how we operate. For example, we know that the tax season starts from November to March. After March, the taxes are considered what is that considered delinquent, which means you did not pay them. But there are programs available or plans, so the payment, if it's too high to be paid in one amount, it can be paid in installment plans. It can be divided into 4, it can be divided into 12, depends on the plan you take. Also, in the convenience of you going to any Wells Fargo branch to pay your taxes, people don't have to come all the way downtown, Broward, to pay their taxes for those persons who are not computer savvy. And those are just a few items or a few information that, I'd like to make sure that we have a platform to inform the community so that they know that the Broward County Tax Collector's Office is not just an office that collects taxes. We're there to assist the community to make sure, yes, the collection of taxes is important because that's what we use to provide services for the police services, the fire services, the school board, which means the teachers get paid from your taxes, and some of the hospital districts, in terms of their maintenance, that's what is used for that as well. So the taxes, also, I would say, is a necessary evil. But on the token is that some people are on a fixed income and they cannot afford to pay it all at once. Now, instead of them waiting for it to become delinquent when we have issues when they have to have a tax deed sale on their property, then they would have come to us and say, listen, I cannot pay it. How can I go about navigating the system? But if they do not know that option is available to them, then they won't come.
So why people, according to you, need to pay tax?
Well, without the taxation, the service that we get, it would not be available because it provides those services I mentioned earlier. The police services, which, to me is very critical for our society, and the fire services. You're home and you have issues and you call 911. The police that comes to you or the fire service that you get, that's what your taxes are used to pay for. The teachers, which is, I would say, the number one person in our society, because without teachers, I would not be even sitting here talking to you from an educational standpoint. And they need to get paid as well. So the taxes that we collect from us all, because I have to pay it as well myself, that's what is used to pay for those services.
So let's say, for example, the tax for property. Why is so expensive? Why is so high at this moment?
Well, it's a few things. The tax rate is set by the city that we live in because there's a tax rate, and one of the main things that affects that is that persons are moving into Broward. So because of that, it's a demand and supply issue. So, for example, if you have your home and you haven't moved from there for whatever years you lived there, if you're going to be selling it now, you're going to be selling it at the current market rate. So the current market rate is what it is. So if persons are coming in from out of town and buying up those properties, it raises the prices of the home. So when they go to evaluate and assess the property, it's assessed on the current market value. So that's what increases the property taxes. Because if you're going to sell now, you're not going to sell at the price that you have for 10 years ago when you bought it. You're going to be selling at the current market rate. So because of that, you benefit from the high price that the market is now at. It's just that you're at a disadvantage if you go to buy because then it's high. But the tax rate, as like I said, it's everybody pays their fair share. So because of that, it's necessary evil, as I would say.
How long you been working there as in that office?
For 8 years, I have moved up the ranks. I was working with my accounting manager who retired, and then I got that position. I currently work alongside with the current appointed tax collector. He's been there 30 years. And what happens in the rest of the department is that all the funds that are collected, it comes to my section, so I have to, or my department, which I have to make sure that all those funds are reconciled and sent off to the 31 municipalities we have in Broward County, because without the taxation, again, the municipalities don't have an operating budget because that's what they use for their operating budget. And by municipalities, I mean the cities, because that's what they use as their operating budget to pay for the services I mentioned earlier, the police service, fire services, and all of those services.
So how many Haitian do you have working in your office? Because as we speak, as we said earlier, because of the language barrier, we might need some Haitian, employees there that can help other Haitian that come for service.
Yes.
So how many do you have working there?
Well, in my department currently, I think we have, because the section is divided up into three, so I think we have about 10 or 15 persons there right now within our section. But within Broward County, I'm sure there's a lot, but I couldn't tell you because we have over 6,000 employees and they don't all work within my section.
So it's your position is you get hired or you get elected?
Well, it was on the Broward County Charter was an appointed position, but due to us having to become uniformed, because we have 67 counties in Florida, and all of them have 5 elected offices. Elected offices are property appraiser, the sheriff, the clerk, the supervisor of election, and the tax collector's office. Broward County had only 4. So now we have to make the 5th office, which is the tax collector's office. So it's now 2018 when Amendment 10 was passed. That's when the office became an elected office. So now you have to for the first time, you have to vote for the person within that office. And I currently work with the current appointed tax collector. So I am more aligned with what the duties of the tax collector is to make sure that that function is carried on when without the new office coming into existence January 2025.
So is the county is working hardly towards making that position it's will be an elected position? Are you aware of that now?
If the county is working, the question again?
Yeah, I mean, there will be election in November. Will that position that you are working now, will it be elected position or
E-
what do you think?
Thanks for that question. The election for this office will be the primary election in August. It will not be the November election. So this position will be voted on August 20th. That's the primary election for this position. And yes, it will be an elected office. It will be separate and apart from Broward County. The budget is now approved by the county commissioners as it stands. But when that office becomes an elected office in January, the budget for that department or for the office, I should say, will now be approved by the Florida Department of Revenue, which currently we act as an agent for them because we have to take over the driver's license office and registration and fishing and hunting and all of those licenses, which is part of the state. So we now act as an agent to provide that service to the community, but the funds that we collect will be for the state.
Do you see that are there a lot of lands in Broward County as ended? For example, we have the what we call the big developers, right? That are building, queens, like in Miami. Do you have a lot of, space, a lot of field in Broward where we have a lot of developers that are looking for lands to build as like Dade County?
Yes, we do, because as you probably already know, Florida is now the desired state for persons to come and live, and Broward County is one of those states that persons are trying to come and move to. And because of we are, on the beach, and because of COVID too, a lot of persons are moving here. The weather is great, and persons can now work from home. So because of that, the demand for homes or apartments have increased. And because the demand is there, the developers are now looking for places so they can build, so they can have all these properties for persons to move here. And it's real estate is now prime prices, if you will. So because of that, yes, there's a lot of development, but what the county is working on as well is to make sure that persons within Broward County are not priced out of the market. So they have a program that they're developing to make sure that when these developers build their properties, they have some apartments or some complexes that are affordable to the residents of Broward County to make sure that we are still a part of the community.
So how does the county calculate how much tax to pay for on a property?
Well, it's not the county. It's done by the property appraiser's office, and that's done by the millage rate. The millage rate is set by the city, and then the property tax rate is set by the Marty Care's office. So that's not a part of the county. It's a part of the property appraiser's office. They do the calculation. Yeah.
So when property taxes are due, okay, where and how can homeowners pay their property taxes?
There are various ways that they can pay that. It can be paid online for those persons who are computer savvy because the bill comes out on November 1st, and you get 4% on November 1st. If you paid in November, you get 4% discount. December, you get 3%, and January, you get 2, and then 1. Within those times, November to December, most people try to pay their property taxes because they get that discount. It can be paid online, like I said. It can be paid through Wells Fargo. You walk into Wells Fargo with your tax bill, and you can pay any Wells Fargo. Just walk in with your tax bill and tell them you want to pay your taxes, and it can be paid there. You can always come in the office as well for those persons who like that. Also, it's collected through your mortgage if you have an escrow. So it's collected that means, and then the escrow company will send over the taxes on November 1st that they have collected from you. So those are the ways that it can be paid. And like I said earlier, there's different payment plans. So if you cannot afford to pay it all at once, then you can divide that payment. But those things you have to apply for. It's not just given to you to be paid for the current year. You have to apply for those payment plans so that you can be put into place so that when you can pay the taxes, then you can be going on those plans.
If a homeowner has a financial hardship, due, for example, to loss of income, well, and maybe illness or divorce, can that homeowners, right, request a delay to pay the tax property or request payment arrangement?
The tax law governs us as to how much we can do, but and when you say pay it, you mean the full taxes, or there's some paid on it already and they just want to pay the difference?
The full, or make some arrangement?
Yes, the arrangement, like I said, is the payment plans that we offer. We have partial payment plan. We have we can split the payment in 12 payments. But again, you have to come in the office and speak to us, and then we can make those arrangements for you. But if you don't know that that's available to you, then you won't come to do that. And that's why I want to make sure that this platform that I'm using, people can know the information that's available to them and the service that we offer, apart from us just collecting your taxes. And then those information they can use to their own benefit to make sure that if they have issues, they know how to navigate the system.
But are you aware of a lot of cases like that come to your office very often? No?
Yes, currently there's a lot of persons who don't know, because going out and speaking to people, persons don't know that we offer these services, and it's only when they have issues of their taxes become delinquent, or when they have a notice in the mail. And they know that, they come to us and they talk to us, and then we say, these are the options. But then it's after the fact that you have the issue. And then, like I said earlier, the Florida Statute 197 governs us as to what we can and cannot do at certain point. So then it's hard for us then, after you have become delinquent, to provide those services to you. So we want to make sure we get to you before you have those issues, so we can get those corrected.
I know your office like to collect taxes, right? But is there any way some people can get a discount on the property taxes?
Yes, they can. But again, my office, as in the tax collector's office, our main duty is to collect it. So that's what we are bound to do. However, the discount part comes from the property appraiser's office, because how it works is that the property appraiser's office valuates and assesses the property, and the millage rate, and it's calculated, and then we get we call it tax roll, which is the bill. So we send it to you, and then you pay us, and then we do the rest of the board. But the property appraiser office has different exemptions, they call them, that you can apply for. You have widows. Most people just know about the homestead exemption. You have widows exemption. You have veterans. You have, if you're a first responder. There's like 9 or 10 of them on the website. And anybody's willing to, they can go to the property appraiser's website, which is bcpa.net, and they can look for those exemptions, and they can see which they're qualified for, because there are certain requirements that you have to meet to qualify for those exemptions. So then they can use it to their advantage as well, which would lower their tax bill, of course, because when you apply all those exemptions, it comes off the bill, and then you don't pay what's left.
Among your 8 years working there, do you recall one day, one or two, some people come to your office and complain and being mad at you, say, taxes are too high, what can you do for us, and being mad at you? Do you receive some, do you have some type of experience at that? No.
Yes, but since I'm not in the collections area directly,
Yeah.
I don't really see too much of that. My staff within that section will see that, but if it gets to a point of escalation, then that's when I'm called in. But yes, they have, and even the regular season that just went by, you know, it's always persons coming in because again, persons are on fixed income and they know they have to pay it, but they still have issues with it because it's too high. But when they come and you explain to them how it works, then again, knowledge is power. When you explain how the system works, then they, understand and then they pay it. And, we explain to them that next year, if it happens, then you can apply for those plans that I spoke about earlier. But until, like I said, until those things happen, because right now, the tax collector's office does not have a voice in the community. Like the other elected offices.
So
Like,
why not?
because it's an appointed office where you just go to work and go home.
That need to be changed.
Right. So that's why it's now an elected office. So now there's going to be a voice in the community. So when we have that voice in the community, we can have outreach, we can have educational forum, we can sit with the community to ask questions. How can we help to make this office better? How can we help you to help us? So then when we have this forum, we can hear the issues that happen in the community and they can share that information for them to better navigate. But right now it doesn't have that voice. So because of that, it's only when they come to pay the bill, then it's like, okay, it's too high, and then we can share the information with them then. But sometimes it's too late.
Can you explain to us the process of, taxes? For example, there is federal tax, there is state tax, and there's local tax. How, when you collected the tax from somebody, let's say on his or her property, how did the federal get his parts? How is this the process works?
Well, the federal taxes, all those are from your paycheck. I don't really handle those.
You don't do that?
No.
Okay, good.
What we basically do in my office is the property taxes, and we have what is called, like I told you earlier, we act as agents of the state. So we have like the registration you pay, the little yellow sticker you get on your car. When you pay that, whether you be doing it online or you come into the office to pay it, or you go to any one of those tag agencies, that process comes to us, and we process those information, and the funds goes to the state, and we get a fee from that. But the property taxes, it's the bill is
Specifically for
Broward County.
okay.
Broward County. Miami-Dade has their own, so each place Palm Beach has their own tax collectors. So for Broward County, when the taxes are collected, it has to be reconciled to make sure that what we collect is what we have in our bank account. And then after that's reconciled, which is done by my department, then we have Florida Statute 197, which tells us how much, or what, I mean, not how much, but because we divide it by the dates and the percentage that they say to divide it by for the community. But it gives us specific dates that you have to send those funds to the cities by. So when we have that, we have to use to make sure that on time we send those money to the cities, because that's what they use to run their operating budget. So without that, they don't have the operating budget to pay those services that I said.
So has this money collected come back to the community?
Most definitely, yes.
So how is come what do you do with all those money you are collecting every day?
It's come back to the city that you live in. So whatever city you live in Broward County, when you pay your property taxes, if you live in Coral Springs, if you live in Margate, whatever city you live in, that money comes back to the city that you live in to pay for the services of the police services, the fire services, the school board, the park maintenance. So you get that money back within your city. Now, if you have as to how that money is spent, then that's out of my jurisdiction. You'd have to go to your city to find out what they do with it.
So we don't, as officials, government, local government, state government, federal government, we don't really, do any favor to the people. You do things based on what they give.
If you mean,
meaning you collect money from them and you return that by providing services. So with their own money again. You don't do them any favor. If they don't pay tax,
wh-
you can warn your local government.
well, the thing about it is that even if the taxes are not paid, the service still have to be provided.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's not, if you don't pay it, you don't get that services, because whether or not you have a home to pay property taxes, if you're a renter and you call 911, you still get that service.
But when the person is renting, when he pay, so you collect from the owner of the house.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, but the person who is renting didn't actually pay it. But yes, I understand the promise. But everybody in the community, whether you are homeless or not, or you have a property or not, everybody benefits from the service of the taxes.
Oh, we were talking about really discount. Let me go back to that. Is there any discount or specific for specific professions? For example, such as educator, nurses, police officer. Do you have some type of discount for those?
Yes,
People.
there are. And again, I'm not. I know they're there, but I don't know the specifics of them at the moment. But I know they have first responders on the property, on Marty Care's website, which is the property appraiser's website. So that's where I would advise whoever the persons are that wants to find out what discounts are, to go to find out where those, whatever is available to them.
We are listening to 1580 Community Hour. We are talking with Mr. Dwight Forrest as the Broward County Board of Commissioners accounting manager for the Tax Collector's Office. Let's take a break. We come back.
You're listening to WSRF 1580 AM, the first and only Haitian-owned radio station in the nation.
Utilisez autoroute GMX souvent, Dolphin, 112, Don Chula, 878, Oswa Gatene. Sous répondre oui, nous gain nouvelle capitale. So, nouveau programme Sa Florida Saves GMX là, pral permettre chauffeur yo joindre une réduction son passe 20%, les ou payer 40 péages GMX par mois. Aucune restriction pas nécessaire. Offre intéressant ça valable jusqu'à 30 juin 2024. Visitez gmx-way.com pour plus d'informations.
My name is Amy. I've been with FPL over 6 years. There's so many initiatives to help us continue to deliver clean, reliable, and safe energy to our customers.
We're moving responsibly towards solar, battery, and green hydrogen, and this will all ultimately bring savings to the customer.
There's a lot of things happening right now, and consumers like myself want some level of control. I know that FPL is looking at other ways to produce energy that down the line will reduce my bill, and the future is bright.
Learn more at FPL.com.
Build a Better Tomorrow, c'est une organisation qui est établie pour éduquer, nourrir et puis aider des petits qui ont malnutrition. 100% l'argent nous ramassé aller directement dans le programme pour bailler ti moun manger et puis tout le monde qui dans staff nous a travaillé comme volontaire. Ça veut dire pas toucher you good. Avec distribution manger gratis chaque mois, nous déjà commencé à attaquer problème grand goût dans la communauté. Pour information, relez-nous dans 305 944 22 22 ou bien visitez-nous sur www.buildabettertomorrow.org. Objectif de communauté panouan, c'est améliorer la vie tout petit monde avec famille qui n'a besoin. N'a fait ça yon petit monde avec une famille à la fois, avec manger n'a bail gratis et puis bon conseil pour montrer famille aux conséquences malnutrition. Pour information, relez-nous dans 305 944 22 22. Dans le programme Build a Better Tomorrow, n'a aidé à améliorer la vie chaque monde dans la communauté.
Émission Cobral côté là, joint patronage Build a Better
I'm back with Mr. Dwight Forrest. How many offices do you have in Broward?
Well, we have one office, one main office for Broward County. But in terms of the tag agencies, we have 6 private offices. And what they do is that they process the paperwork and they bring it to our office to have it processed where you can get your tags. And then they come and collect it and then they give it to you. So in terms of the registration and the tag office, there are 6 in Broward County. And then Broward County just has one main office with the tax collector's office and the registration office. So we have to make sure that when, after the office become an elected office, we have to have this service spread out within the community so it can be more accessible to residents of the county. Because it doesn't matter where you live. If you live in Miramar, if you live in Coral Springs now, you have to trek to all the way downtown Fort Lauderdale to transact business with the tax collector's office. That should not be.
You are collecting a lot of taxes, property tax in Broward. So how do you have a number?
The revenue for this year is $6 billion.
What?
Yes. So that's what is going to be distributed to all the
31. 6 billion?
Yes, 6 billion with a B, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So, listen, what are the consequences if the homeowner doesn't pay for the property tax? What would be the big consequences?
Well, ultimately it would be the loss of their home. But that's a process, because how it works is that December to March 31st, I should say, you have the option to pay your bill. After April 1st or March 31st, your taxes become delinquent on April 1st, which means you have not paid it. Then we have a certificate sale, it's called, or tax deed sale. And how that works is that investors will now come and pay your property taxes for you. Yes. And then they will hold on to that certificate for 2 years. If you have not paid within that 2 years, then they can do what is called a forced sale, which means because that money that they paid for your property taxes.
The investor?
Yes, because they pay your property taxes for you. But we don't hold that money. The money they pay for your taxes, like, it has to go to the city for your taxes. So we don't have that money. But the investor has that certificate still holding on to, hoping that you, the property owner, will now pay the taxes so they can get their money back. So if you don't pay and they hold it for the 2 years, they can do what is called a forced sale, which means they come back to us and say, listen, I need my money back. Now, I don't have that money to give back to them because I already sent it to your city. So what happens now is that they file what is called a deed on the property, and then that's forced the property to go to sale. But that's after 2 years. So the homeowner does not lose their home after not paying their taxes. The investor just has a certificate to your home, doesn't have the home.
Okay.
So it's after the 2 years now, when the property is now forced to go to sale, an auction, that's when the property would be sold, and then the person would now possibly lose their home if they still haven't paid their taxes, because they have up until the day of sale to still come and pay their taxes.
The full amount?
The full amount. And then the property would be withdrawn from the sale.
So meaning, if somebody has a chance to buy a house, even that person, finished to pay the mortgage, doesn't have any more money to pay. But if, for example, the house, is being paid off, and then you don't pay the tax, you still can lose the house.
Correct.
If I understand.
Correct.
So the tax is the most important thing.
If you would say that, yes.
Wow.
My mom would say things that guarantee debt and taxes. Those are things that you have to make sure you take care of.
Yes.
So yes, because again, the taxes are needed for the services that we spoke about earlier, and the law governs that you have to pay those. But again, if you have issues and problems of paying your taxes, if you come to the office and talk to us, then we can help you navigate the system so you don't get to that point. But most people don't know the information, so they sit and wait until that time, and when they do come, it's hard to help them then because our hands are tied because of the laws that govern the office.
But the office still need to be involved in providing education to the community so they can be aware of all this information, because it's not about just having a house, just okay, now the American dream, I get there. It's not about only that. You need to be really educated about the system.
That's correct.
And then, of course, you can do all the sacrifices, all those sacrifices, and you become very negligent. And then in 1 second you can lose your house.
But before you get to that point, there's letters sent to you. That's why when you need to check your mail.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
There's letters sent out to let you know that the bill has not been paid. So you need, and you also have access to go online and check for yourself as well, for those persons who are computer savvy. And you can even call the office if you realize that you probably think you paid it, think you did not pay it. If you don't have computers to check for yourself, you can always call the office and they can check for you. But again, like you said, the community service, if it's not there to allow persons to know the services that are available to them, then they wouldn't know how to navigate the office.
But do you have a lot of cases like that in your office where a lot of people who didn't know, and then they just lost their house just like this?
Not, I wouldn't say a lot.
But some cases.
Yes. Because like I said, after it has become delinquent, we have to send out notices. So when they get those notices,
to become delinquent, how long it has to take? 3 months, 4 months, or the 2 years you were talking about?
What's the question again?
The delinquency, for example. So how you become delinquent?
Okay.
In 6 months you don't pay, 1 year you don't pay, 2 years you don't pay, and then
no, it's March 31st. So the tax season starts in November. So
everybody needs to pay the tax
by March 31st.
Yes. For the next 2 weeks, everybody needs to pay the tax. Next 2 weeks.
By March 31st.
Okay.
Because the tax season started in November. So you had November, December, January, February, and March. You had 5 months to pay.
Okay. So you pay twice a year?
No, you pay once a year.
Okay.
But these months, the 5 months, is the grace period, if you will, that's given to you to pay the taxes.
Okay.
Because it starts, the tax season, the first day the taxes are due is November 1st.
Okay.
So you have November to pay it, you have December to pay it,
if you don't pay in December, you can pay in January, you can pay in February,
correct.
And you have March 31st,
yes.
the last day of grace period.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then April 1st, it becomes delinquent. That doesn't mean that you still cannot pay it. It now means that somebody can buy that certificate and pay your taxes.
For you?
Right.
In the meantime?
Yes.
In the meantime, you find the capital to come.
Right, because what happened is that the investors, they buy it because it's a safe investment, because the persons, they won't lose their money because you have to come and pay the taxes somewhere, right? So it's a safe investment for them. And then what happens is that there's penalty and interest being added to the taxes.
On the daily basis?
Yes. 1.5%, yes.
Wow.
So because of that, they get that interest, because even though they paid it, it wasn't paid by the homeowner, so it's still considered delinquent. So because of that, it's still accruing penalty and interest on it. So when the homeowner decides to come and pay, whenever that is, all that money that's accrued on it, the investor now gets back the money they paid, plus that interest and penalty.
So how the system considers someone who's being sick, someone who's out of job for a certain period of time and then can't pay taxes? So how the system considers that? Because the person will lose the house, Mr. Dwight.
Well, the system don't consider unless we know. So when we know, you notify the office, and then we can make arrangements with whether it be you or the family member, somebody to come and pay it, and then we can work that out. But again, it's knowledge. If you know how it is, and I would say for persons that lives alone, make sure they have family member who are close to them that can say, listen, if this happens, these are what you want, I want you to do for me, so that you can know what's outstanding. And persons, or I said, children who have their elderly parents who stay by themselves, I would advise them to work with their parents to make sure that all these things are taken care of on a yearly basis, because it would be sad to know that their parents have a home that they have worked so hard for, and because of the taxes are not paid, they lose it.
So when the house is finally sold, the investor got his spots, his money, and who responsible to sell the house? Who's selling the house? The county?
The tax collector's office. It's a trade.
Okay, so
Yes.
now, what about the price that house is being sold? If there is a difference, who is the owner receive that difference?
That's correct, yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. There is no abuse
No.
in this case?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
none
okay.
whatsoever.
Okay.
But, I would say it would be better instead of you losing that home to come and pay, because sometimes you lose it for, a couple $1,000 compared to the value of the home. And you can't, especially this current market, whatever you bought it for then, you can't buy it for that price now.
And you say people can make arrangement, no?
Yes, yes.
Well, Mr. Adwright, things are tough. If the homeowner has declared personal bankruptcy, are they still responsible for the property taxes?
Yes, it doesn't discharge them from it.
Wow. You have a big tax on your back.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes when you sleep at night and then you are in your bed, sometimes it's tough for you to sleep.
Sometimes, yes, when you have to deal with persons who, have issues and your hands are tied and you cannot help them. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, but I mean, around the United States, in each county, right? There is an office of tax collector that does the same job, correct?
Yes, 67 counties in Broward County. And of those, the only two counties that didn't have a tax collector, or doesn't, I should say, elected tax collector, let me correct that, is Miami-Dade and Broward County. So, which means August, when we vote in the primary election, we'll be voting for an office in Broward and an office in Miami-Dade.
So now you will have direct connection with the people right now.
That's correct.
It won't be the same.
Correct, because then you'll know who your tax collector is. You can go to that person directly and speak to them, and they should be able to give you information and help you navigate the office.
So will there be only one in Broward, or there will be maybe 2, 3?
Well, I would prefer to have more than one office in Broward County, because I wouldn't want to have just the same one location where persons have to be driving from Miramar to come to Broward County, or Coral Springs to come to downtown Fort Lauderdale, because it's where the office is right now. It should be easier to navigate to you. We should be able to have, say, mobile units if we can provide an office space. We should have units that we can come to, to you to provide the services for. Because we even have the elderly community that, those persons, they have properties, but they might have challenges. They might have any issues, or, we should be able to provide those services for them. Their local library, like I said, a mobile unit or something to make the services more convenient to them.
Why is it so important to pay property taxes? Why is it so important?
It's the wheel that we use to provide the community with the services that they need.
So without paying tax, there will be no service.
Technically, yes. The government would have to find some other way of financing those expenses. Yes.
What the Haitian community need to know as far as the economic impact that paying property tax can have on the Haitian community, on the community at large? What do we need to know?
Property taxes are essential for our well-being, and when I say "or," I'm including myself, because we have those taxes are used to provide the daily medical services. For example, if you go to the hospital and some people cannot afford their health care, that's used to subsidize some of those costs. The teachers within our community that teaches us and give us the knowledge that we have every day, they're the ones benefiting from your taxes as well. You pay it and it goes to the school board, and the school board uses that to pay their salaries. So without that, it's like I would say, a cycle. So you pay it and it goes back to provide those services that you need. The public schools, you don't pay to go to school, but you get the information, you get the knowledge from it. So your taxes are used to pay for those services. Again, the police services, you call 911, whatever service or whatever emergency you have, they come there and they take you to the hospital. And, so it's, again, necessary evil to make us all a better community, to provide us with the necessary services that we need.
So property tax is the backbone of the system?
Pretty much, yes. Pretty much.
Listen, can you elaborate with me Haitian, Bahamians, Jamaican, why we can't put ourselves together? Why is that? According to you.
That would be, I don't know if I have the right answer to that question, but
yes, you do.
We just need to work together as a community, because as a Jamaican, I know we are indebted, so to speak, to the Haitian community for us achieving our freedom. So if we use those things to unite ourselves, the common goods between us, I think we would be a better community, because we know we can help each other. But we often use things to divide ourselves, whether it be language, whether it be status, whatever it is that we use to divide ourselves, and it works against us. But if we look at each other as the same person, doesn't matter where we're from, and when we see each other in need, we help each other, we would be achieving so much more. So that's how I would look at it. If we all just forget the barriers and look at each other as a same person as you are. Because if as a Jamaican, again, if I'm in need, it don't matter what you are, I would be expecting some help from you. So if the shoe fits on the other foot, I would expect to help just the same. So if we come together as a community and help each other, each one reach one, then I think we'll be better off.
When a Haitian come to your office and a Jamaican come to your office, will you give the same consideration to each of them?
Most definitely. They're paying the same property taxes, aren't they?
Yes, they do.
Yes, paying the same money to get the same services that we all need. So of course I would give them the same. The information and the knowledge would not be, divided as to who gets better.
So we should not be taken on the trap. We divide. I'm Haitian, you are Jamaican.
No.
We are divided, and then
No.
we are two minority community.
That's correct. That's correct.
One day I went to New Kingston. I went to Jamaica, New Kingston, and then if I didn't hear anybody who was speaking English, I would still think that I was in Haiti. It's the same atmosphere. It's the same climate.
It is.
So
It is.
we are the same people.
We have almost the same foods.
Same food. Yeah, same food. So what is the last word you want to say to the Haitian community today, as the position you currently as tax collector? What can you say to the Haitian community? Can they rely on you? Can they go to your office anytime if they have any bad situation? What can you say to them?
Yes, I would like to ensure that whenever the Haitian community has an issue, I'm available. My office hours are from 8:30 to 5. And if I cannot provide the answer, I'll make sure that I navigate the persons to the office or the information, or I'll find it myself and make sure they get the knowledge that they need. Because, again, knowledge is power, and if we have the information needed, we'll know how to navigate whatever situation it is, whether it be property taxes or business taxes. It is important that we have information so we can use it to our advantage. And if we don't know it, then we can't use it. So yes, I would be a proponent of making sure that whatever knowledge and information is available, I'll make sure it's available to the community.
But I'm hoping you can hire some Haitian in your office that can contribute to the Haitian community and help some Haitian that will need help based on the language barrier. Can you promise me you will do that?
Most definitely. And the website, because there's always jobs on the county website. I am not speaking for the county because I'm just a section of the county.
I know.
But within my section, if the person applies, then and the job is there, of course I would.
Because we are the largest community in Broward.
Yes.
So we deserve that.
Yes, definitely. And the website is broward.org/careers. So if anybody's listening and they want to go look on the website and see if there's anything there that they are qualified for and they want to apply for it, then fair game.
That was a pleasure to talk to you this morning, but I would like one day when Haiti is becoming stable, I will take you there.
Okay. Promise?
Yes, I do.
Well, I guess you had already been to Jamaica, so I don't have to take you there, but there's other places that you might want to go explore. So
Like Montego Bay?
Negril?
Okay.
Never know.
Thank you very much for, answering those questions that were very important to the Haitian community to listen to you this morning. And I hope another time we can sit down on the same chairs and then the same mic, and I can ask you some other questions due to the Haitian community needs. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Nous avons parlé avec Dwight Forrest, je travaille comme à Broward County, comme un monde qui est responsable bureau pour collecter taxes dans Broward. Vous entendez? Mais nous avons tellement payé taxes dans Broward, nous avons collecté plus de 6 billions de dollars, 6 milliards, 6 billions de dollars et sous nous. Donc, il parlait tout de comment nous avons perdu caille nous et si nous pas payer taxes là, ou qu'on doit finir acheter caille là, payer off. Mais si nous pas payer taxes là, ou capable de vivre dans un moment où payer ou perdre du caille là. Alors, c'était information ça nous te porté pour aujourd'hui. Ici c'est Vert, passons très bonne journée, à la prochaine.
Émission sur Sautant de là, c'est un coup troisi de Build a Better Tomorrow.
This is WSRF 1580 AM W258CZ 99.5 FM, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach, and the Bahamas. Build a Better Tomorrow, c'est une organisation qui est établie pour éduquer, nourrir et puis aider des petits monde qui ont malnutrition. 100% l'argent nous ramassé aller directement dans le programme pour bailler moun manger et puis tout le monde qui dans staff nous a travaillé comme volontaire. Ça veut dire pas toucher you good. Avec distribution manger gratis chaque mois, nous déjà commencé à attaquer problème grand goût dans la communauté. Pour information, relez-nous dans 305 944 22 22 ou bien visitez-nous sur www.buildabetter